want to introduce Paula Dieli. She's a VP of Operations at Remote Technologies today, but the way I know Paula is actually through her book. So for quite some time, I was looking for books on how to build program management teams, and especially TPM teams. And I believe Adil, who is going to be another speaker later today, suggested this book. It's called Get on Track, about building, running, and developing PMO in the companies. And Paula successfully did it at Zendesk and now in Remote Technologies. And I think Paula will give more details on herself. Please welcome Paula Dieli. Take it away.
Good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing? Good so far? Great. Let's see. Put up my slides somewhere. Oh, I have to click. Got it. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. So I'm super happy to be here today. Program management's a topic I'm super passionate about. So happy to see you all here today, and I want to give a special shout out to some of my program management peeps who are following along virtually, so hello to you. All right, so as Anat mentioned, I'm currently VP of Operations at a company called Remote Technologies, but I'm a seasoned industry exec, otherwise known as an OG, and I've worked in the industry for a long time, first as a software developer, for many years. Then I did, oh gosh, a lot of different stuff. So product management, localization, tech support, and program management. And I think all of that led me to program management. I've worked in the Silicon Valley as well as in Europe. And probably like many of you, I have a passion for helping companies run well. I wrote a book, as Anat said, and it was really because I built several PMOs, a couple different companies, successfully. People said, wow, you know, we really like what you've done. How did you do it? And some of those folks went to other companies and said, wait, the PMO that Paula built is different than this one. How do I get hers, right? So basically I ended up writing a book, but we're not talking about building and running them today. Part of the book talks about how to level up your skills. And it's kind of a thread throughout the book, and I think you'll see it's a thread throughout the conference today. And so leveling up is the part we're focusing on today. All right. So why am I here? So, you know, you all do a lot of things as TPMs, right? You're driving programs, you're creating schedules, you're writing status reports, you're talking to stakeholders, right? And all of those things are really important, right? But I'm here to posit today that taking a more strategic approach to program management is really what it's all about, and it's going to help you level up your skills. And the idea behind that is, as a program manager, you want to have the greatest positive impact on the business. So that's what we're talking about. All right, so what we're going to talk about today is, what does it mean to be strategic? What do I mean when I say that? Where do you find those opportunities? And then what do you do once you get there? So we're going to talk about vision, strategy, and objectives. We're going to talk about why do we care about this? Why is it important to be strategic? What it means for a TPM to be strategic. We'll break it down to 3 practical tips. We'll talk about what to do once you get into those meetings where you're talking about strategic level things, how to get invited to the party, and how to get invited back. What do you need to do once you get there? Okay. All right. Does this look familiar? Hopefully some of you have seen, yeah. This is a basic strategic planning framework, and I'm sure you'll see several flavors of this. I'm talking today about vision, strategy, and objectives. All right, so vision. I like to say that vision is what a company wants to be when it grows up, right? So when you form a company, you say, okay, this is what we want to do, and what you're trying to do is attract investors, right? Shareholders, and of course employees, and customers, right? So you kind of start there, that's where you are. And anyone know like how far out a vision looks? Like what's the purview for vision normally in the tech industry? How many years? Yeah, 3 to 5 to 10 even, right? So, okay, so that's vision. Once you have your vision, you say, okay, what are the steps we're going to take to get there? That's what a strategy is, right? It's a set of steps. They're also known as, strategic goals or company goals, right? People talk about them as big themes of work or big rocks. I like the term strategic imperative, right? We'll talk about that a little more. And the goal with the strategy is how are you going to get to that vision? Okay, so what are you going to do in 2023, 2024, and so on to get there, right? And then objectives, I think, is TPMs. You all know about objectives, right? KPIs or whatever, OKRs, whatever you're using. They should be measurable, right? They can be for a business unit, for a whole portfolio of programs, for a function, for a team, and of course for individuals. So that's kind of what the strategic planning framework that will set the context for today. So let's start and talk about vision. So we're going to do a little exercise. All right, so this is a vision statement for a company that I'm sure you're all familiar with. You read it here. To be the worldwide leader in sharing delicious tastes and creating joyful memories. Anyone want to guess what industry this is? Food, yeah. Anyone guess the company? You're warm. You heard lots of guesses. So this is Krispy Kreme, okay? All right, so let's dig into this a little bit. So if you look at this one statement, there's actually a lot there that talks about what the company is trying to achieve. And this is something that you as a program manager should understand, okay? The vision for your company. So vision statements are lofty, right? They're sort of aspirational. They're meant to be, right? Somewhat simplistic in a way. This one is ambitious because if you look at the word worldwide, I started traveling again right after the pandemic. I went to Melbourne, Australia. I went to Dublin, Ireland. Donuts are there. Krispy Kreme is there. Okay, they've gone global, right? It used to be sort of an American thing or North American thing, right? And they're global. So Krispy Kreme wants to be the global leader. Okay, so very ambitious statement. It's a bit fluffy. It talks about delicious tastes and joyful memories, right? It's not talking about revenue or anything. It's just very aspirational, right? And it makes you feel good, right? So you kind of want some, right? And that's the idea with the vision. You want to attract people, attract customers, attract investors, right? So, all right, so one example. Let's look at another one. This one is, we're committed to a sustainable future for all. Anyone want to guess the industry? Energy. What else? You want to guess on the company? Yeah. So actually, this is a software company. Doesn't say anything about software, does it? Who? Good guesses. If you look out the window, you might be able to see it. Salesforce, yeah. Interesting. So this is aspirational, kind of fluffy, right? It doesn't talk anything about cloud services, right? Okay, so let's dig into this a little bit. So what strikes me about this, the second word, committed, commitment, okay? So this company, I think they were trying to make $4 billion. Is anyone from Salesforce? I think you're trying to achieve $4 billion in revenues this year. So they're selling cloud services, among many other things, right? But they're trying to create a carbon neutral cloud. And so what they're trying to achieve is going to take a lot of continual resolve, right? Accountability. This is a big thing that they're trying to do. Right? They're trying to kind of save the planet, right? So I think commitment is an important word here. Second word that's important is sustainability, right? So they want to make $4 billion, but they want to do it in a sustainable way, right? And then it's ambitious. They're not talking about just, their customers, they're talking about planet Earth, right? So again, it's a vision statement, it's very aspirational, right? Very high level, and that's good. All right. So those are examples of vision statements. So once you have your vision and you know what you want to be when you grow up, next you want to say, okay, how are we going to get there? What steps are we going to take to get there? So you have a strategy, and a strategy is usually for a fiscal year. It lays out the goals, as I said, the sort of big themes of work and what I like to call these strategic imperatives, okay? And every year you're going to do work that moves the needle on that vision, okay? That's the goal. So that at the end of the 3 years or 5 years or whatever your timeline is, you get there, okay? So why are we talking about strategy? Why do I think working strategically is so important? People have said that strategic thinking is the leadership quality that correlates best with perceptions of success and effectiveness, more so than things like communication skills, which we know are important, right? Or being innovative. And if you look at it another way, employees respect and value colleagues who are thinking about the future, okay? Thinking bigger, all right? So company strategy, I don't have an actual example because usually those things are held close to the vest, right? They're proprietary. But this is an example. Strategies will talk about revenue, unless you're a nonprofit, okay? M&A, which drives revenue and helps you acquire technology and people, right? Probably talk about releasing new features or a new product. Maybe a go-to-market strategy that focuses on targeting a different set of customers, right? And then possibly something around improving customer experience because you want to sell more product to your existing customers. So this is an example strategy. Why do people put high value on that? It's really about taking the long view. And Sophia talked in her presentation this morning about taking that balcony view. And that's what we're talking about, right? So it's getting your nose out of your Gantt chart, right? Your schedule and your status for the week, right? And thinking bigger beyond your program. Why are we doing this? Why is this program important to the business, right? And that's going to make you more impactful. Objectives, won't spend a lot of time here. You guys know what these are, right? But the important thing is that if you have objectives for your program, how do those ladder up to the strategy? How do they ladder up to the vision? That's what's important. That's going to make you think, why am I doing this? Why am I spending so much time as a TPM driving these programs? Like, what's it for, right? Is this important? Is this something I should be focusing on, okay? So that's why I started at Vision, so that you kind of understand how it maps, right? And that's how I want you to be thinking. I want you to be taking that higher level view. All right, so what's the role of a TPM in driving strategy? Someone give me a one-liner for program manager. What does a program manager do? Hopefully, give me one-liner. Anything. Something about end-to-end. Yeah. End-to-end design, development, delivery of a thing, right? So this is the way I like to think about it. One example. You're driving cross-functional initiatives. You're that glue, right, between a bunch of different functional areas, like we sometimes call silos, right? But what you're doing is you're driving a strategic initiative, okay? You folks do something that no one else at the company does. You take that objective, selfless view, you drive work forward. That's part of the company's strategy. Somehow, some way it maps to that strategy, which advances the vision. So I want you to know what that is. I want you to be able to connect those dots, okay? So what does it mean for TPM to be strategic? Let's get down to some brass tacks. It's about understanding the broader context in which you work, what program you're driving, why are you driving it, okay? You want to make sure that the work you're driving for the teams you support moves the needle on the vision. Otherwise, why are you doing it? Right? It's not important, okay? You want your work to be important. That's going to make you more valuable, and you're going to drive business impact. All right, so let's do 3 things. I'm going to give you 3 things you can start doing tomorrow, okay, to be more strategic. Number 1, you have to be able to articulate the vision and strategy. So that exercise we just went through, you should be able to do that. You should be able to articulate your vision, articulate the strategy, okay? That's your first step, all right? Practice in front of the mirror with a partner, a colleague, right? And make sure you can do that. It's kind of your elevator pitch, right? If someone says to you, why are you driving this program? Well, you know, because this, and this, it advances the vision in this way, right? You should be able to do that. Number 2, look at all the work you're driving and connect those dots. Now that you know what the vision is, you know what the strategy is, look at your program and say, how does this ladder up, okay? If it doesn't ladder up, what are you going to do? Start asking questions. Why am I driving this, okay? You should know why it's important, right? Talk to your manager if you're not sure, right? So that's number 2. Now, you're in this room. I'm guessing you're all pretty good at what you do, okay? So you're going to get a lot of requests. Hey, you know, I got this thing and I need your help. Does anyone ever get those requests? I need you to drive my thing forward. Yeah, right? So you're going to say yes every time? You can't, okay? You're not going to be able to handle the work. But what you want to do, whoops, back. Get so excited. It's not showing down here. Oh, somehow it's not showing down here. Anyway, it doesn't matter. What you want to be doing is you want to be checking every time you get a request. You want to say, great, you know, like, sounds interesting. Help me understand how this ladders up to the strategy for the business unit, for the team, for the company. Okay? That's going to help you know whether it's something you should be working on. It's also going to let them see that they need to be thinking about it. Okay? It's going to show them that you think beyond your Gantt chart to the broader strategy. You're more of a business thinker, right? You're a strategic thinker. You know why this work is being done and why it's important. Okay? What happens if you're not working strategically? How are you going to know that? What are the signs? And anyone ever had their lead developer yanked off of a program and yanked over to something else? Has that ever happened? I'm seeing some nods. Yeah. Why is that? Because that other thing is perhaps more strategic, right? Or you see someone that's trying to shop around something, right? They want a program manager, they want resources, and nobody's listening. It's a cool idea, but it's not strategic. It's not moving the needle on the vision. Can't work on it, okay? So you as a program manager need to understand what's going on and be able to tell the difference between something that is strategic and should be focused on as compared to someone's pet project, okay? So there's lots of those, right? You work with creative people. All right. So, you know, what we're talking about here is learning to prioritize, because we work in industries where there's always way too much to do, not enough time, not enough resources. And so you're one of those places people go to try to get work done or get work kicked off, right? And so you need to be helping folks prioritize. You're not going to do that in a vacuum. You're going to do it based on strategy and based on vision, all right? So I'm showing you this, you know, strategic decision framework, and you don't have to carry this around and go through this, but like this is the thought process I want you to go through in a couple seconds when someone comes to you with a request. Is it urgent? Like, you know, is it related to like COVID or something, and you have to like, everyone has to do something? It's urgent, okay, you prioritize it, right? If it's not urgent, does it advance the vision? If not, parking lot it. If it does advance the vision, is it more strategic than all the other things you're already working on that are already resourced? If not, parking lot it. If yes, prioritize it. So that's kind of the thought process I want you to go through. And that's why we started with vision and strategy, so that you can do that, okay? So that you have that context. When might you look at that list of things in the parking lot? You know, I like to say when I parking lot something, no one likes to hear no, right? Especially when they come to you with a request to drive something. But what you're saying is not yet, not now, right? It doesn't mean never, it just means not now, okay? So quarterly, you know, when you're looking at progress and a program wraps up, you can think about taking on a new effort, right? Or during the year as you complete other efforts, or yearly, you know, when you relook at what you're going to do for the next year, what's the strategy for the next year. Is it ever okay for the dots not to connect up? Obviously, or I wouldn't have the slide. Anyone have an idea about when it would be okay to be working on something that isn't necessarily strategic? Anyone heard of a hackathon? Yeah, you work with creatives, right? So they have lots of ideas, and so once a quarter they let engineers play, but sometimes they come up with cool stuff. Or you have that really, you know, good engineer that just thinks up great stuff, and someone says, all right, I'm going to give you a month and 2 people and see what you can come up with. And so that's okay. As a program manager, just make sure it's time boxed, right? Put some discipline around it. So like it possibly could be okay. All right, so far what we've talked about is understanding vision and strategy. It's the basis of strategic thinking. You work more strategically, you will drive more business impact. And that's what I'm passionate about. I want you to drive more business impact. What are you going to do that? Number 1, articulate the vision and strategy. Number 2, figure out how the programs you're driving connect up. And number 3, learn to prioritize incoming requests using that strategic framework, right? Working strategically is going to make it easier for you and the teams you support to prioritize those incoming requests, because you're just, you know, it's a constant thing, right, to get those requests. All right, so you say, great, Paula, you know, this sounds great. Like, I hear what you're saying, but I'm not in those meetings. I'm going to show you how you are and how to get into some of them, okay? Who drives business decisions at your company? These folks. Chief Product Officer, Director of Product Management, Go-to-Market Strategist, product managers. Anyone work with product managers? You know any? Yeah, of course, right? Where do those conversations happen? Obviously, there's annual planning meetings, you know, at the C-level. We're not all in those meetings, right? But those happen within your teams. You do mid-year reviews, you do quarterly check-ins. But you also have program meetings, okay? Those program meetings, what do you talk about in those? You talk about program status? I hope not, right? You do that asynchronously, right, in email. You're talking about things like driving alignment. Something's happened, you know, competitors release something and you need to drive alignment. You got product and engineering, they're disagreeing, you get them in a room, right? So that's what you talk about there. You also talk about internal changes, a layoff or a business change, or external threats, okay? ChatGPT came out. Did everybody go, oh my God, we got to talk about this. What does it mean for our company? What does it mean for our team? What does it mean for our programs? Yeah. So you're aware of those things. You bring those into your meeting. Those meetings now become much more strategic, much more interesting. Okay? You're driving those conversations. So even if you're not in any of these others, make your meeting more strategic. You can do that. You should do that. For the meetings you want to get into where you think, you know, I really should have been there and I'm not invited, you know, enlist some support. Talk to your manager, right? See if you can get into that meeting. Make your case to the organizer. Talk to them about how it's important for you to understand that strategic planning framework so you can drive more business impact. That's what they want to hear, right? You want to help them make more money, right? Enlist the help of your product manager. You know, product manager's your friend, right? They're at your level, they're not very scary, right? And they love talking about product and roadmap and solving customer problems and strategy. So get to know them, partner with them, build a good, close working relationship with them. Ask them to walk you through the product roadmap, okay? They'll start to see you in a different way. All right, so let's imagine you get to one of those meetings. Wonderful, right? You gotta make the most of the opportunity. This is not the time to be a program manager, open your laptop and take notes. Definitely not. Close your laptop and participate. Implicate yourself in the conversation. So use your superpowers as a program manager. Talk about things like risk and dependencies, right? So, and if you don't know what else to say, ask a question that brings you into the conversation. People know that you're actually listening and participating. Bring up things like, hey, this sounds really interesting, and I know this other team is working on something similar. You might want to reach out to them. Or, hey, you're probably going to need help with this team over here, so why don't I set up a conversation? And then, like I said, when all else fails, hey, I didn't grok that. Could you repeat that, or could you clarify that point? And they're going to start to see you as being involved in that conversation. They're going to see you as someone who understands the business, who can help the team achieve the goals, help them be more successful, someone that they need to have in the room, a key player. All right. Strategies discussed in specific types of meetings. Get yourself invited to the party, right? Get invited back by adding value when you're there. Now, I've given you some really practical things. What I want you to do is I want you to take 5 minutes in a corner tonight, make your own list. How are you going to start leveling up your program management skills? What's that meeting you want to get an invite to? Make a pledge that every meeting you're in next week that you're not running, you actually say something. Okay? It can be a question. Learn to articulate your company vision, right? So take those things that I talked about, make your list, and start putting them into practice. Okay, because I believe strongly that you work more strategically, you will drive more business impact, and that's what it's all about. All right, don't wait, okay? Start tomorrow. So I've enjoyed engaging with you all. I don't know if we have time for questions. You liked what you heard. I wrote a book. It's out there. You can get it online if you prefer audio or Kindle. Link in to me if you want to continue the conversation. If you send me an invite, put TPM Summit in there so I know who you were, where I heard from you. All right. Thank you.